Morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
Good, and yourself?
I'm doing good. What's going on?
What's going on?
Yeah. What's up with you?
Nothing much, and you?
Not much.
What do you got going on here?
I'm interviewing strangers. For
Really?
5 minutes.
Okay.
You want some fresh water? I got ice water here.
I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
Anthony.
Madison.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I've got kind of a hobby where
Let me get on the shade.
Absolutely. I set a timer for 5 minutes.
Okay.
And I ask strangers to stop and talk with me to examine a belief that's in your mind
Okay.
that you're sure is true.
Okay.
So I had a great talk with these two. You may have even seen them. These two ladies. They thought that karma was real. So we were talking about, well,
Okay.
what do you think karma is real? Or ghosts. They think a God exists, but it doesn't have to be supernatural.
Okay.
But when it's a belief that motivates you to behave in different ways,
Yes.
then that's kind of the more interesting talks.
Okay.
And I just love that I can see my face right. Those are the most reflective glasses I think I've ever seen.
I actually had them made. They're prescribed.
They are really cool.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Do you mind if I record the conversation?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Thanks so much. What is your first name?
Madison.
You told me that.
Yes.
I'm so sorry.
You're fine. You're fine.
Maybe I'm getting a little heat stroke out here. I kind of screwed up there, but maybe it's a good thing because I don't want you to think that you have to give right answers.
Okay.
Just like be honest.
Okay.
Be yourself and just tell me what you think.
I love how you catch everyone coming out.
I prefer to catch them before they go in. I saw you going in, but you kind of were like, I don't know if you had your earbuds in. Right. Like I could just tell the way you were walking. I was like, well, I couldn't tell for sure, but it seemed like you were focused on getting your exercise in.
Yes, I was running late.
Okay. Do you come here a lot?
Yeah, every day. Or every other day.
You must have seen me here then.
Yeah, I saw you once. Yeah.
Okay. All right, Madison. So what belief do you want to take 5 minutes to examine and determine how you concluded that it's actually true?
Whew, it's a good one. You know, I definitely don't think we're the only species.
Okay.
That's for sure.
On this planet or
on this
elsewhere?
planet or just in the universe.
Do you think that there are other species on this planet?
Well, not too long ago, I was on Facebook and they found, where was this, in Lima, Peru? They found a mummified human look-like that had...
I think I've seen that.
Yeah.
It's like 3 fingers?
3 fingers.
Really
and 3
elongated?
feet, yes, and it had a very protrude skull.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, I definitely... I'm a believer in God, but I definitely don't think we're the only creatures or human beings.
Can we focus on that belief, the species thing?
Okay.
I think it's pretty interesting. Okay, can I get a sense of how sure you are that there are other species besides human beings? I guess you're excluding animals and squirrels and raccoons and armadillos.
No, just all in general. I think we would be pretty naive and God, my train of thought. That question that everyone asks, how do you know if God exists? Well, we don't really know. Like, we have to find a common ground that we must all attach ourselves to in order to find common ground, if that makes sense. God, it's kind of confusing. When someone asks you, do you believe in God? And you say yes or no. So if you say yes, they'll ask why. But if you say no, they'll ask why as well. But then you ask them, well, do you know if God is real? No one has ever seen God. Same thing as other species, such as that creature that was found.
Are you just as confident that there are other species on this planet as you are that a God exists?
Yeah. We're constantly finding new creatures, new species, that's for sure.
So, just so I understand,
Yeah.
what are we exactly talking about here? Do you want to examine why you think the God exists, or do you want to keep on the topic of the other species? Or do you want to broaden it out? Do you want to talk about naivete?
Okay.
What does it mean to be naive? You mentioned naive at one point. Like, that's an interesting word. What does it mean to be naive?
Easily persuaded? Yeah, easily persuaded.
How?
Into believing something.
Easily persuaded into believing something. Okay.
Without really knowing the facts.
Okay.
So, when it comes to generalizing the belief of God or a species, I think I will probably want to stick with God. To just think that you're the only type of living thing besides animals. God, I want to say it's some type of ideology, but
is a person being naive to think that there's no God, or is a person being naive to think that there is a God, or is it neither of those?
Both. It's both.
How?
Because again,
Okay.
you put the word belief. Not everyone believes.
Yeah.
So naive can be placed in both of those two
Okay.
beliefs, if that makes sense.
If I believe that there's no God, I could be naive. I could be easily persuaded into believing that there is no God.
Yes. And it's also the other way.
I got you. Yeah, I do think that not believing in a God is a belief.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on board. I'm on board with that.
They're both beliefs.
Yeah.
I don't think there is a right or wrong belief. Yeah, there's no right or wrong belief. I think
Right or wrong? Do you mean accurate and inaccurate?
accurate and accurate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who is being more naive? The person who believes in a God without evidence, or somebody who doesn't believe in a God?
I don't think there's more or less. That would just be hypocrisy of the other one to the other. Me thinking, well, you're more than me because you don't believe in my God, or you're more naive than I am because you do believe in one when there isn't. No, I think I'm in a loophole here. We choose to believe. It's a choice to believe.
Can somebody be naive in choosing their belief?
No, I don't think so. Wait, hold on. Yeah, because then I contradict myself. No, not real. Right? Wait. Let's take for example. Let's say the word God never came out, or came up, or ever was. Oh,
It's okay. Keep going.
It never was found. There was no such thing as the word God, and we had no sense of belief that there was a God. Okay, so we can carry on like nothing, our normal lives.
It would never even occur to us that there was this thing.
Yeah, so it must have come from somewhere in order us to continue that belief.
Okay. Do you think that the first person who conceived of a God was being naive? Were they being easily persuaded into believing something?
I don't think they were persuaded, per se. I do think, again, and it's having to find something to hold on to, whether it's a God, whether it could be anything that you symbolize as religious or non-religious, but it gives you some type of energy. It could be anything.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
How do you think somebody could be less naive when it comes to accepting what they're choosing to believe? If people even choose beliefs. How could somebody be less naive?
Acceptance of the other, of someone else's beliefs.
Just being more accepting to somebody's beliefs would make them less persuadable?
I think I meant to say the opposite.
Oh, okay. Please.
Someone who's not acceptant of someone else's belief
would be less likely to be a naive person.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Do you find yourself willing to believe what anyone tells you?
No.
Okay.
No.
You wouldn't classify yourself as an easily persuadable or naive person. Is that right?
I'm naive. I can be.
Okay.
Say, for example, I don't know, you bribe somebody.
Okay.
That's a type of persuasion that can get you to kind of like, okay, I'll listen.
Yeah. But when somebody tells you something super interesting or super odd, or maybe odd is not a good word, but like a fantastic claim that like a deity exists or that there are other species on this planet,
I would believe them.
You would have more of a tendency to accept the claim just because they're making the claim, or is there a good reason to accept it?
Oh, you got me there. I want to say I would believe them to an extent. Yeah, I guess you can say I would believe. It's kind of like that cheesy phrase. Believing is what? Believing is seeing? Or wait.
Are you thinking of seeing as believing?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
I think it's more like a gut feeling, more like an intuition. And again, all of those words are pretty much the same or similar, close to each other. Believing, going with your gut, conspiracies, like not necessarily having factual evidence always means it exists. Again, and you can have all of that, but if you don't have belief, okay, say that you're trying to persuade me to believe that rocks have feelings.
Okay.
Okay.
Great example.
But it's all on your persuasion. So
gotcha. Okay, this is good. This is good. So let's say that I'm very, very good at persuading people.
Yeah.
And I can persuade you.
I have to feel what's in here.
Okay.
To tell me that.
That's awesome. That's a beautiful example. So Madison, let's say that I actually do persuade you that rocks have feelings. Would it mean that that belief is actually true?
Yeah. Yeah.
The rocks would have feelings.
If you believe it, and you make me believe it, then yes. When someone cares so much about something, right? Let's say people say don't, what's that word? When you care too much about something that's materialistic. Don't fixate. They say, for example, a car. Someone got a new car, and you're like so protective of the car. Okay. Typically, being superstitious, sometimes you get a scratch in the car, and you start thinking, crap, this is what happens for me being overprotective on something that's so material. God, I lost my train of thought.
Could we go back to the rock example?
Yes.
Okay, because you mentioned that if I really believe that rocks have feelings, and I'm really able to persuade you to believing that. Number one, would that make you naive? And number two, I want to double back and make sure that would actually mean that the rocks do have feelings, that it would be a real and true statement.
Yeah. The point that I was making with the car was going to go with the rock somehow.
Okay. Can we stick to the rock example?
Yes. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Okay. So let's say for the rock. say that you're in a lot of pain, and I don't know, when you're growing up, and you pick up something, and you're gonna hold on to that thing, whether it's a stone, a rock, that kind of becomes a form of comfort. Just like picking up a teddy bear and the kid not letting it go. Okay. So let's pretend somehow we had a smaller rock. You hover that rock, and you protect that rock. It may sound kind of stupid, but you find a reason greater than yourself or anybody else or anything else.
Okay.
It's like doing yoga when you have to mentally prepare yourself, focus it on a.
I think I understand what you're saying. Can I summarize it?
Yes.
Okay. So we could both convince ourselves that rocks have feelings, and we can end up living a better life maybe because we're holding that belief. Like we might actually perform better on a test or give us talk because we think that rock that has feelings is in our pocket or something, right? But here's what I want to totally understand. Let's say that we took it a step further and we not only believed really strongly that rocks have feelings, but that the rock is also advising us to kill men who wear earrings.
True.
Would you still be comfortable with me holding that belief?
Yes and no. It's a double sword, or double-edged sword. So let's say that stone was a shape of the Virgin Mary or Jesus or some type of God or Buddha. Okay, because typically they're monuments and we go up to them, whether it's a Buddha, they say rub the belly, good luck. Cross yourself because it's Jesus. Examples. Every religion has their own beliefs, whether they are wrong or right. Just because their beliefs are different than ours doesn't make us any better.
You know what's interesting is that I think I completely understand what you're saying. And let me throw out another example here. There are these tribes in Tanzania that think, and they really believe that it's true, right? Somehow, somewhere, they got persuaded that this is true. That they think that when an albino child is spotted, that if they rip the limbs off of that child, that they're magical. The parts are magical, and it's actually beneficial to be ripping off a finger or an arm, and because it's good luck. Yeah. They really think that it's true.
I've heard of it.
I saw it on Facebook recently too. I think we're on Facebook a lot, maybe.
I think so. Yeah.
I'll give you my card at the end.
Okay.
You can email me. Does it mean that the belief is true, that these kids really are magical, and that owning ripping off a limb?
No.
Okay, so in that instance, they would be believing in something that's not true.
No, and it goes back to being superstitious, going way back to when someone decided to say, and we're going to stick to this, and this is going to be our culture.
Do you think that people can be naive to their detriment?
Yeah, I do think so. I know it's kind of it contradicts what I'm saying. Just because someone believes in something, sure, we can all find it wrong, but it's right to you.
Right, it's right to that tribe in Tanzania, meaning it's beneficial, right?
It's beneficial for them. However they see it, they've been doing it for years. For example,
maybe I always get a little leery when we kind of throw example after example after example. Okay. But if you really think that it would help, we can certainly do that.
Okay.
But if we can maybe leverage the rock example or the Tanzanian albino kid.
Okay. All right.
Where were you going with that, if you don't mind me?
The rock and the... Okay, so for example, me trying to persuade you that has energy, that's some type of... That's my God. The rock.
The rock that you... Okay. Yeah.
I have to somehow pour my heart out, make you believe, and make you see what I'm seeing.
Listen, I'm totally on board that rock has feelings. I'm with you, man. I'm ready to start a group and come out here and start putting flowers around it. But would it mean that they really had feelings?
We don't know that. We can. I mean, we're standing on something that's man-made. They're just rocks.
How do you feel generally about saying I don't know? If you didn't know the answer to something, just generally speaking.
It's normal. It's okay to say you don't know. I don't think we know everything. I think a lot of people do try to make up things to set up a new norm.
Do you think that there could be instances in your life where you're accepting things and calling that they're true when it might be more justifiable to say I don't know?
I think a lot of people are afraid to say I don't know. Just like they're afraid to say no.
Are you afraid to say I don't know?
No. I'm not.
How come you didn't say I don't know? I'm just kidding. Okay. You're not afraid to say I don't know.
I don't know.
When it comes to supernatural claims, let's say that the next person that walks by says that, did you guys hear that these rocks have feelings?
I think at
would
first...
Would you just go with it, or would you say, I'm not really sure that I can believe that?
I think at first I would probably laugh interiorly. And then, I mean, it's typical. I mean, it's the first thing that we're going to do is like, oh my God, is it for real?
So there's something going on in your mind to determine when something is ridiculous and when something is legitimate.
Yes, pretty much.
Okay.
Until you give it a try.
Like, what does that filter look like? Tell me about the filter that helps you determine what
helps
would
you
be
determine
what would be a silly thing to believe and what would be actually.
It's when someone has no filter, zero filter.
You have a filter, right?
Of course.
Okay.
We all do, but sometimes there are others that just don't give to say what first thing that comes out. If that person was to come and try to tell me that that person has feelings or it's hurting, at first I would probably be like, are you okay? But if it meant so much to that person, then why should I not care?
Okay, so the tribe in Tanzania, it's a really meaningful thing to think that those limbs are magical, and you'd be fine with those folks.
I think it goes back with choices, and it's a choice. So if you choose to believe in that, that's your choice.
You'd be fine with kids getting their limbs ripped off in Tanzania.
I'm not okay with that.
Explain the difference.
So, one is you're normalizing pretty much the removal of limbs, to where the other thing is there's believing that a stone has feelings.
Okay, I think I got you. You're okay with people believing things that might sound ridiculous and may not even be real.
Yeah.
As long as the belief isn't hurting anybody.
True. But yet we don't know if that rock is really hurting.
Like that rock, like the example, it might be speaking to me as well and asking me to do certain things.
Yeah.
Not that I would ever harm you. You seem like a really very nice guy. All right, well, that was plenty of time. I don't really want to take up too much more of your time.
You're fine.
And I have a card here.
Okay,
I'd love it if you would message me.
Of course.
And just let me know what you thought about the talk. Or you can just give me some feedback now.
Perfect.
You're not going to hurt my feelings.
So what was the purpose?
The purpose of this talk, I mean, the purpose of the talks vary because I really don't know what topic we're going to pick. I don't think I could have ever guessed that we would have started off with other species and then God, and then we started talking about rocks and albinos and in Tanzania. So I just kind of go where we go, Okay. But ultimately, I want to help people slow down a second and think about the beliefs that are in their mind.
Yeah, I think people don't take the time, or they just think that they don't have the time.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I'm coming here, because people have usually carved out a little bit of time for these. They get away, right? They want to think things through, and I can usually get them on or off the trail.
Yeah.
So, all right, man. Well, listen,
Nice meeting you. What was your name?
Anthony.
Again? Anthony.
Yes.
Nice to meet you.
It was really enjoyable. Thank you.
Likewise.
Okay, great. Take it easy.
You too.
That was a fascinating talk with Madison. We started off by talking about other species and then God, and I wasn't quite sure where we were going, and then he mentioned the word naive, which is really interesting because just yesterday I Googled the word naivete because I was looking for a different way of asking if a person might be gullible. And it's so interesting that he would mention that word. So the conversation shifted to how people can become naive, which he defined as easily persuaded into believing something. I'm sure you'll notice that he was bringing up example after example, and I tried to rein that in because it makes the conversation harder to follow, quite frankly, and I called it to his attention. And fortunately, he was open enough to stick to the great examples that we had already raised, talking about whether rocks have feelings and if the people in Tanzania who are ripping off the limbs of albino children are being naive or not. Guys, if you want that water, help yourself. As the conversation was wrapping up, we started talking about his willingness to say, I don't know, when he didn't know something, or just accepting something to be real, to be true. A very friendly guy. I think we really hit it off. I took a little bit of a risk there by using an example where I might want to murder a man who's wearing earrings because he was wearing that. But I felt comfortable enough with him and that we had built enough rapport to roll that one out. And I think that helped make a lasting impression.